Welcome to this no standing Vinyasa flow yoga practice for the hips and the spine. We've got mobility, strength, and a little bit of flexibility all mixed into this inversion-free practice. Blocks are optional but helpful if you have tight hips. If you are inversion-free, then grab the props that you need for Savasana at the end. If you like the royalty-free music that I use in my videos, check out the links in the description below for more information. Okay, grab what you need and let's get started.
Begin in a seated position so we can take a minute to focus our minds and settle into the breath. Sit up tall through the spine and let your hands rest where they are comfortable. Close the eyes or lower your gaze and allow yourself to be the observer of your own breath. Nice, gentle inhales and exhales. Take notice of the rise and fall of each breath as it comes. Start to deepen your breath. With the eyes closed or lowered, tuck the chin to your chest and fold forward. If you are inversion-free, prop yourself up on your arms or props. Keep the spine long here as to not stress the lower back. Gently come up to vertical, switch whichever leg is on top, and fold forward again, propping if you need to. It's all good if this side is different from the first. Maintain your natural rhythm of breath. Come on up to vertical and move onto hands and knees. Please note, if you have sensitive knees, now would be a great time to cushion underneath them. Tuck the toes under, helping the little toes if needed, and align your heels with your sit bones. Yep, we're moving into screaming toe. How'd you know? Depending on how this feels for you, you can stay on fingertips all the way up to sitting fully on the heels, hands resting on the legs. Find whatever intensity works for you. This pose and the next one open the fascia, our connective tissue, which runs all the way up the legs, ultimately helping the hips and spine open as well. Walk the hands forward, slowly untuck the toes. Gently place the tops of the feet onto the mat and sit on your heels. Bring one hand to your knee and the other hand behind you on the mat. Lean back slightly, pulling the knee off the mat to stretch the ankle and the top of the foot. Lower the knee back to the mat and switch sides. Lean back and lift the knee. Lower the knee and move into tabletop. Once there, gently roll the ankles and point and flex the feet. Okay, rest the feet down and extend the right leg back, tucking the toes, pressing your weight back. On your next breath, swing that leg forward for low lunge. Come up onto fingertips or your blocks and lift the chest. Bring the hands under the shoulders, and as you exhale, shift your weight back onto your left knee. Inhale as you move forward into low lunge. Exhale as you shift back, and keep going with this flow. This is to work on hip mobility, so no worries if the front leg straightens. Be mindful to keep your chest and eyes lifted as you move forward. This helps to keep our mood and energies lifted and light. Take one more shift back. Move into low lunge, blocks to the side, and see if you can continue this movement with the hands on your waist. If not, grab the blocks again. With our hands on the waist, we're adding strength to the mix. making the body activate core and stabilizer muscles, supporting the functionality of the movement. Keep that breath connected as you move. One last time, forward and back. Now stay on the back knee. Bring the hands down to the left side of the mat and move into gate pose. Left knee under your hip, right leg extends to your side, toes turned forward. Come up to vertical, hands on the hips. Inhale the arms out to your sides. Exhale, side bend over the straight leg. Bottom hand gently touches above or below the knee. Inhale up to vertical. Exhale, side bend. Keep space between the top arm and your ear. Inhale up to vertical. Exhale, side bend. Keep going a few more times and stay connected to your breath. This movement is so great for opening the tops of the hips where the obliques and the lower back connect to the pelvis, as well as the benefit of the spine mobility. On your next inhale, come to vertical, but keep the movement going and connect the left hand to your mat for a modified side plank. Let the right leg lift to hip height, flexing the foot. Engage the belly. Now take little pulses upward with the floating leg, working the outer hip and thigh. Stop pulsing and either stay here or move into Chapasana variation. Bend the leg, reach for the foot. Think of this like Lord of the Dance on its side. Release Chapasana and find your way to regular plank to Vinyasa facing the back of your mat. Lower down, knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale to Child's Pose. Stay here and breathe. One more full breath. Walk the hands forward for tabletop. Extend the left leg back, tucking the toes. Press your weight back. On your next breath, swing that leg forward for low lunge. Come up onto fingertips or your blocks and lift the chest. Since you know where we're going with this now, if you'd like to forego the blocks and bring the hands to the hips right away, go ahead. As you exhale, shift your weight back onto your right knee. Inhale as you move forward into low lunge. Exhale as you shift back. Keep going. Be mindful to keep your chest and eyes lifted as you move forward. Take one more shift back. If you're using blocks, move them to the side and see if you can continue this movement with the hands on your waist. If not, go ahead and grab those blocks again. And remember, keep that breath connected to your movement. One last time, forward and back. Now stay on the back knee. Bring the hands down to the left side of the mat and move into gate pose. Left knee under your hip, right leg extended to your side, toes turned forward. Come up to vertical. Inhale the arms out to your sides. Exhale, side bend over the straight leg. Inhale up to vertical. Exhale, side bend. Remember, keep that space between the top arm and your ear. Inhale up to vertical. Exhale, side bend. Keep going a few more times and stay connected to your breath. On your next inhale, come to vertical, but keep the movement going and connect the left hand to your mat for the modified side plank. The right leg lift to hip height. Flex the foot. Engage the belly. Now take those little pulses upward with the floating leg. Stop pulsing and either stay here or move into Chapasana variation. Bend the leg, reach for the foot. Release Chapasana and find your way to regular plank and Vinyasa facing the front of your mat. Knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale to Child's Pose. Stay here and breathe. Lift the head and walk forward to plank, feet hip width apart. Bend the right knee heel to sit bone and turn to face the right, touching the floating foot behind you, moving into Modified Wild Thing. Press the chest and hips forward as you anchor down through the bottom hand and feet. Turn back into plank with the right thigh to the belly. Now turn to the left into Falling Star. Side plank with the right leg extended in front of the belly. Lift the front leg, working the inner thigh. Now shift to three-legged plank, right leg floating. Swing that leg into pigeon pose, right knee behind the right wrist. You can prop under the right hip if you need to. Come up onto fingertips, tuck the back toes, and lift the knee for a little more opening through that hip flexor. Go ahead and lower the knee and fold forward. Remember, if you're inversion free, either keep the spine extended as I am here, or use a prop under your forehead to keep the head higher than the heart. One more breath. Bring yourself up onto the hands, move any props off to the side, and shift into plank. Either take a vinyasa or take child's pose, your choice. Moving on right away. Come to plank. Bend the left knee, heel to sit bone, turn to face the left, touching the floating foot behind you. Move into Modified Wild Thing. Press the chest forward, hips forward as you anchor down through the bottom hand and feet. Turn back into plank with the left thigh to the belly. Turn to the right into Fallen Star. Side plank with the left leg in front of the belly. If it's available, lift that front leg to work the inner thigh. Now shift into three-legged plank, left leg floating. Swing that leg into pigeon pose, left knee behind the left wrist. Prop under the hip if you need. Come up onto fingertips. Tuck the back toes and lift the knee for more opening through the hip flexor. Lower the knee and fold forward. Either keep the spine extended or use a prop under your forehead to keep your head higher than the heart. One more breath. Come up onto the hands, move any props to the side, shift into plank. Either take a vinyasa or child's pose, your choice. If you're vinyasa-ing, finish in child's pose. That was quite a bit on the wrists. If yours feels stressed, give them some love by rolling them around for some release. One more breath here in child's pose. Now we'll move into some booty strengthening, so come on up to tabletop. If your wrists are still not happy, grab your blocks or props. Place them on the medium level and rest your forearms on them. Once you're settled, lift one leg up, knee at 90 degrees, and flex the foot. Take little pulses up toward the ceiling, pressing through the heel. Be mindful of the spine here. We want to keep it stabilized so the core is engaged. A natural curve in the lower back is A-OK. Take a few more pulses and bring the knee back to the mat and switch to the other side. Pulse the leg upward, heel pressing to the ceiling. Do your best here to keep the hips even and still. Finish up this side, bring that knee to the mat, and we'll do one more round. Lift your first leg up and pulse. Are you breathing? Bring the leg down and switch. Little pulses upward on the second side. All right, finish up that side and rest in child's pose. If you're using blocks, feel free to keep them under the forearms as you shift into child's pose. Just keep the head in line with the heart. This variation provides a nice opening through the shoulders and arms, much like downward facing dog. Lift the head, and stand on your knees for camel pose. Make sure the legs are about hip width. Place a block between the heels on the highest level. Heels of the hand on the back hip bones, fingers press the flesh down. Inhale, lift the ribs out of the hips. Exhale into your back bend. You can stay here or walk to the next level, hands on the block. Chin to the chest if this is painful on your neck. If you have more back bend in there, you can walk the hands down to the ankles or feet. Take one last breath in camel. Tuck the chin, walk the hands back up the way they came, and have a seat either on your heels or on a prop. Take a nice inhale and exhale, twist to the right. Inhale through center, exhale, twist to the left. One more time each side. Inhale through center, exhale to the right. Inhale through center, exhale to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Find your way to seated, left leg out in front, right foot connected to the inner left leg for Jahn. Inhale, lengthen through the waist. Exhale, mini twist to the left and fold over the straight leg. Hold where you can reach here, your thigh, your calf, your ankle, feet, toes, or around the foot. Come up to vertical, stretch out the right leg, and bend the left leg for the second side. Inhale, sit up really tall. Exhale, micro twist and fold over the straight leg again, holding where you can. Come to vertical once again and take a moment to shake out the legs. Now we move into bound angle pose. Bottoms of the feet together and scoot the sit bones toward the heels. Bring the hands behind the hips and lift the chest to arch. Bring yourself to vertical, readjust the hips if you need to. Hold the arches of the feet or the ankles, elbows to the inner thighs. Exhale and hinge forward over the legs. The elbow position offers a bit more intensity for the hips. Be gentle here though. We don't want the inner thighs to retaliate. Inhale, come up out of the hinge. If you're inversion free, it's time to set up your props to lie down on. If you're not inversion free, lie back for reclined bound angle pose, arms out to your side. I'll meet up with you there once I'm set up. To set up the props, you're looking for a diagonal to support your spine. If you're using blocks, stack them on their lowest level and then place your bolster or pillows accordingly so your head is the highest point. Move your pelvis to the edge of your props and lie back. Oh, and make sure you're in bound angle pose here with the arms out to your sides. Slide the hands down to your legs and use your hands to close the legs. Give a small rock side to side with the legs here. Hug the right leg into the chest, wind-relieving pose. Extend the other leg long under you, heel pressing into the mat. Take a spinal twist. Move the right leg across your body, letting the hips change position. If you're on the props, you'll have to lift and adjust your hips slightly to rest on the left hip. This is so you don't fall off your props. One more full breath in the twist. And bring yourself back to neutral so we can move into wind relieving pose on the other side. Okay, go ahead and hug the left leg into the chest. Right leg long under you, heel pressing down. Guide the left leg across the body for your twist, making any adjustments you need. One more breath. And bring yourself back to neutral for our final pose, Savasana. Let the legs fall to their natural rotation, arms by your sides, palms up, no higher than the shoulders. If it's chilly where you are, bring a blanket over you to stay warm. Let the eyes close and take rest. Start to deepen your breath. Find energy in your fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, hands, and feet. Extend the arms overhead by your ears for a big full body stretch. Hug the knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side, or feet flat on the mat and gently windshield wiper. Roll onto your right side, resting in fetal position, right arm under your head as a pillow. Gently press yourself up into a seated position. Eyes remain closed. Hands can either press together at your heart center or one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Take a few moments here to check in with how you feel after this practice. How do you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually? And take a moment for some gratitude. What are you grateful for in this moment and why? Thank you so much for practicing with me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.
Have more time? Check out one of these beautiful practices over here, and there's more suggestions in the description below. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.